guys, welcome to another week of our summer series, walking through Acts and Romans together. I'm super excited to be back, hanging out with you guys again. Haven't been on here since the beginning of the summer, so yeah, a little update on my life and what's going on. Carolyn and I just took our first big vacation with Judah. It was crazy. We went with my family down to Florida. Really awesome. There's some pictures here. Judah loves the beach. He's a beach bum. He actually took a couple of naps laying on the beach in the shade, which I love. I'm a beach bum as well. I could just sit on a beach for a long time, no problem. But it was super refreshing. It was really cool for us in a very different way because everything is different now than Judah is in the picture. It's awesome. But it's just a little bit different in how we get to rest and how we get to relax, and so everything's just changed a little bit. I actually got to go on a date with Carolyn. My parents watched Judah for us, and we just took a couple hours to get away, and that was amazing. It was so good. We love Judah. We are so happy and praise God for him. But it's so good for us to just be able to take a little bit, just a moment, and invest in our relationship as well. That's so important to us, and so that was really great for us to just connect with one another and spend that time together as well. And yeah, investing in your married relationship is important, and that was just reinforced. I got to have one of my coolest moments as a minister on this trip. My mom asked me if I could help her surprise my dad with a vow renewal ceremony. And so we went and got some family pictures done at the beach one night. And at the end of that, she grabbed Dad and said, "We want to do a vow renewal ceremony together." And so there's a picture here of that. I got to perform a vow renewal ceremony for my parents who have been married for 34 years. And that's just incredible. And just in the past couple of years, they've just been through a lot together. But their love and their commitment to one another is like super inspiring. And so that was so cool for me to just be a part of that. Here at CCH, we're gearing up for the National Student Conference. We leave this Saturday, so I'm super excited about that. And I'm really excited to see you all back on campus here in just a few short weeks. Man, super pumped. You guys are going to be back here soon. But until we get there, let's dive into Romans a little bit. This week we have chapters 9 through 11. So if you haven't read that yet, go read that now. Super good stuff from Paul, as the rest of Romans has been. It's really awesome, and God, I think, has some really cool stuff for us with this today. I've just got a couple of thoughts for you, but as you know, when I speak, my thoughts become elongated and go on forever. So I've just got a couple of thoughts for you here this morning. And I want to start in verse 30 to 32 of chapter 9. And I want to start here because I think it's important for the other thing that I want to share to have this this kind of foundation laid. And so in chapter 9, verse 30 to 32, Paul writes, "What then shall we say? That the Gentiles who did not pursue righteousness have obtained it, a righteousness that is by faith. But the people of Israel, who pursued the law as a way of righteousness, have not attained their goal. Why not? Because they pursued it not by faith, but as if it were by works." And I think that's important right here because I find myself here way too often, pursued righteousness not by faith, but by works. And I think that maybe if I just do some more good stuff, I'll feel that I'm in better standing with God. I'll feel like I'm in better standing. I'll feel like I'm closer to God. I'll feel like I'm more righteous. And I try to earn God's favor in my life, earn righteousness, instead of responding in thankfulness, gratefulness to the righteousness He's already covered me in. It's kind of like my parents got me a Christmas gift. Like, let's say that. Let's say my parents get me this super nice Christmas gift, and I'm like, well, I'm not worthy of this. And I spend all my time, my entire relationship with them, trying to earn their favor that they already poured out on me through that gift. Like, trying to earn the gift that they already gave me. As opposed to just saying thank you and being grateful for that. We have been gifted righteousness through Christ. And we don't need to earn it, and we shouldn't be trying to, really, is what this text is saying. You can't receive righteousness that way. And I think that's really important, as I want to challenge us with something as we move forward with the text here. So I'm actually going to jump back a little bit, and then we're going to jump forward. So in chapter 9, in verses 25 and 26, it says this. Paul is quoting Hosea, and it says, I will call them my people who are not my people, and I will call her my loved one who is not my loved one. And in the very place where it was said to them, you are not my people, they will be called children of the living God. And then if we jump ahead to chapter 10 and we look at verses 12 and 13, it says, for there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all and richly blesses all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. This gospel is for everybody. That's the point here. It's not just for me to hold on to. It's not just for those who I deem worthy to hear it. And that's a problem for us sometimes. I think we're picky. I think sometimes we're really picky who we decide to share the love of Christ with, or the truth of Christ with. And there's a number of reasons for that. Sometimes we're timid, and we don't want to go talk to people that we don't know, or people that are a little outside of the box of people that we normally hang out with. Maybe we feel inadequate, like we're just not well equipped to share with those people. We're comfortable. We like to just stay where we're at with our people, share maybe with our friends every now and then, or we're just lazy. We I don't really want to go share with them. That I've got the gospel, shared with a couple of my friends. I don't really feel like going and doing that. I'm just lazy, comfortable, inadequate, timid. And the reasons go on and on and on. But we as the church have this tendency that I've observed to pick and choose who we share Jesus with. And that's not God's desire. If you go back to chapter 9, verse 15, Paul is writing about God's conversation with Moses, and God tells Moses, I will have mercy on whom I have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I have compassion. Moses, you don't get to pick and choose. Church, we don't get to pick and choose as the body of Christ. God desires to have mercy on who he has mercy, and compassion on whom he has compassion, and he desires to do that through you. He desires to do that through me. He desires to do that through his church. And so I want to jump back into this passage in chapter 10 and read just a little bit further. So if we start in verse 12 again, it says, there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all and richly blesses all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. People don't have the opportunity to believe unless they hear. And they can't hear unless we are speaking the truth and the love of the gospel. They can't hear that. How can they believe if no one's told them? They literally have nothing to believe in. They've never heard of this before. How can they believe? But then Paul goes one step further and he says, how can someone preach without being sent? And I think sometimes that's a bit of a disconnecting point for a lot of people within the church. We hear that question, how can someone preach without being sent? And a lot of times we internally answer that ourselves, well, I don't know if I was sent to preach. I can't preach because I'm not sent to preach. But can I tell you something? God has sent you where you are right now. God has sent you where you are currently at for the next couple of weeks. God has placed you there for this time. And God has sent you, God has brought you to this campus here at Shrine. God has sent you here. And I believe you've been sent to preach. You've been sent to share the gospel with people. We get a little intimidated by that word preach sometimes. We think preaching is what somebody does on a Tuesday night during worship, and they get up and they share for 35, 40 minutes. That's preaching to us. Preaching is sharing the gospel. And so you and I have been sent to preach where we're at. So here's what I want us to wrestle with. Here's what I want us to answer. Here's what I want us to respond to today. First, who needs to have the love of Christ spoken into their life where you are at right now? Who needs that? Who needs to hear that so that they even have the opportunity to believe? And how can you do that? Second, to whom specifically might you be sent when you return to campus? And how can you prepare right now to be on mission when that comes? Those are the things I want us to wrestle with, to respond to do something with, even today. And I can't wait to hear how God has been moving in your lives when we get to share those stories together when we're back on campus. Excited to see you guys soon. Have a great week.